plural pronouns with adjectives. Pues yo tengo muchos amigos y pues ahora tengo amigos interesantes. ¿Sí? Mis amigos interesantes. Por ejemplo, Asim y Jair son morenos. Son morenos. Ellos son pesimistas. Pesimistas. Jim y Jerry son altos. Son altos. Ellos son malos. Ellos son malos. Las Olsens son bonitas. Son bonitas. Ellas tienen ojos azules. Ellas tienen ojos azules. Carrie y MB son pelirrojas. Son pelirrojas. Las atletas tienen pelo castaño. Tienen pelo castaño. Ellas tienen ojos de color café. Ellas tienen ojos de color café. Las hermanas son rubias y sociables. Las hermanas son rubias y sociables. Los amigos. Chico, chico, chico y una chica. Sí, los amigos. Los amigos son bajos. Los amigos son bajos. Okay, so we're learning to describe more than one person now. Like two or more people, a group. And the first question I wanted to ask is, did you notice anything different about the verb ser? We've seen a couple of forms already. In the first chapter, if you can remember, we saw the verb soy. Soy as in soy señora Quash or soy de Alabama. So soy, and this chapter we started to see S. So we've seen two forms of ser so far. So in this lesson, what's the new form? Do you remember what's the new form? Son. Son. And what about the adjectives? What about the endings? Did you notice anything about the endings? Well, all the endings each have an S because we're describing a group of people. It's more than one person, just like in English. You'll have an S. So something else to point out with the ending for guys, such as OS, like in the adjective altos. So I did point out in the last group, the last example with the kids, there is a boy, 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 and then a girl. So a lot of people ask initially, well, what happens if you have boys and girls in the same group? Well, if you have a guy in the group is automatically described as as you would an all-male group. So with the kids, they were called bajos, even though there was a girl in the group, bajos. So men just dominate that way. Another similar example is if you had one guy and 500 women, and you were trying to say they're all tall. Well, that one guy would make the ending altos. So keep that in mind. And pronouns. Did you happen to notice some new pronouns? Ellos and ellas. Do you remember which was for who? Ellas for the girls and ellos for the boys. So both of these mean they. It just depends on who's in the group. And we did not see this in the presentation, but I did want to point it out and mention it. We won't be using it as much, but you will see it. So ustedes. If I had ustedes in the presentation, it would also use the verb son. And I wanted to point out this pronoun as well. Vosotros. Vosotros we're not going to use. Vosotros we're not going to use. I want you to see it. It means you all, just like ustedes means. Usted meant you, formal. So if you want to say you all, use ustedes. So both mean you all, but this one we're going to use. Vosotros is primarily used in Spain. So we're going to use ustedes. And one last thing I want to point out. I did not have it here, but just take a sec. The verb tener. Did you notice that tienen? There's an N now on the ending. So tienen. So that's one other thing to note. So any other questions? Please let me know. Y hasta luego.